Hey, what's going on, everybody? Brendan here from Mission Driven Ventures, and today, talking about Catan. Yeah, that's right, Settlers of Catan for kids. We're going to be doing another video on homeschool because really I enjoyed making that content. I'm really passionate about it, and so I don't know that it necessarily performs super well as it relates to the content that I make, but it's something I'm very passionate about and something I want to continue to make content about in the future. And so going to do it. We're going to talk about Catan Junior, and you may be thinking, how does a game, a kid's game, apply to something like homeschooling? Well, in my family, we're actually teaching our kids lessons on game theory. And so you may not be familiar with that topic, that course. It's usually a higher level course, but game theory is essentially teaching the basic fundamental concepts behind games, but it goes deeper than that because eventually those ideas scaffold on top of each other to form the basis idea of the economy that we live in and capitalism and all sorts of stuff. So game theory is a really great thing to teach your kids, but it's often overlooked, and it's something that's it's not like maybe a standard course that you might want. It's not science or biology or math. It's not as simple as that, but it's something that I recommend, and I'll be putting more content out on game theory in particular for homeschooling because I think it provides so much benefit. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those benefits today, so stick around to the end because at the end, I'll tell you a little bit about why this game is such a great one to teach some basic concepts. So if you're unfamiliar with the game Settlers of Catan, it's a resource management game. You're basically saying, you trade and negotiate for different resources. You use those resources in order to build a civilization, and you're trying to outcompete your opponents. So there's a little bit of competition in there. There's also a little bit of cooperation because of the trading. And so that's some of the things that I love about it. And that's what we're going to get into right now is here's just four big ideas you can take away from this game and why it's good for your kids. And then I'll talk a little bit about how it supports the development of your kids in homeschool. And then in the end, I hope that it'll be convincing for you to start playing games with your kids if you're not already doing it. So number one, a game like Catan Junior teaches your kids about resource management. Resource management is all about collecting, managing the resources that you get, and then as you're doing so, you need to kind of strategically allocate those things in order to build a road or in order to build a little. They call them layers, to build a little pirate layer on the board. The second thing that it does is it teaches trade and negotiation, and so that is a really important skill in the modern world: how to trade, how to negotiate, how to talk with people to get win-win situations, and how do you cooperate with other people in order to achieve a common goal. It involves decision making, and so they need to decide how to use those resources, whether they should build the ships, whether they should build pirate layers, whether they buy, there's little Coco the Parrot cards. Those require evaluating the game and kind of where they are and what the benefits are. So it requires some decision making ability. And then finally, there's some probability and some risk management. And so they roll the dice, and it determines what resources you get when you roll the dice. And it teaches them a little bit about probability and I'm not getting much wood here, so maybe then I have to trade, and there's just a lot of mechanics involved here. So the reason that it helps support development, and I'm so big on this, is that it really engages their cognitive thinking, their strategic thinking skills, their social skills, because they have to learn how to trade. My kid, I could tell that he's going to be very competitive because whenever I cut him off on a piece on the board, he told me he was going to remember that and he wasn't going to be trading with me. So I think I've got a game player on my hands here. It also helps a little bit with like mathematical skills because they're trying to figure out what resources they need and how many of those. And it's just a really great game. So there's a lot of practical reasons to be playing games like Settlers of Catan for kids, and I just want to recommend it as a board game that you can use as a resource. If you're looking for good games to play with your kids, this is definitely one to put on the list. Now, I'm not even going to put a link. I might put an Amazon link or something below for you, but it's not a product review kind of video. This is a video about something that we do in our family that I think others should be doing as well. But I'd be curious to know, if you're watching this in your homeschool family, what other games do you play? What games do you bring out at family game night? Do you actually use it to teach? We use our games to teach our kids a lot, and I love to do it. It might be one of my favorite things to do is play games and kind of teach them about how the mechanics work and why it's important for them to know it. But I'd be curious to learn from you guys as well. If this video helped you, subscribe, follow, like, do all the social media things. It would help get the information out to more people, and we're going to be making more content like this related to homeschool. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I know not all my videos are about that, so sorry for those of you who are here for other types of content. In the future I might break it out, but for now it's all together. So thanks. God bless.